चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. I'll share my screen. I hope my screen is visible. You can reach out behind me. Namam
Yes.
karmani limpanti
Namam karmani limpanti.
name karma phale spriha
Name karma phale spriha.
iti mam yo bhijanati
Iti mam yo bhijanati.
karma bhirna sa badhyate.
Karma bhirna sabhadyate.
Yes, you can read the translation.
Translation. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. Purport. As there are constitutional laws in the material world stating that the king can do no wrong or that the king is not subject to the state laws, similarly, the Lord, although he is the creator of this material world, is not affected by the activities of the material world. He creates and remains aloof from the creation, whereas the living entities are entangled in the fruitive results of the material activities because of their propensity for lording it over the material resources. The proprietor of an establishment is not responsible for the right and wrong activities of the workers, but the workers are themselves responsible. The living entities are engaged in their respective activities of sense gratification, and these activities are not ordained by the Lord. For advancement of sense gratification, the living entities are engaged in the work of this world, and they aspire to heavenly happiness after death. The Lord, being full in himself, has no attraction for so-called heavenly happiness. The heavenly demigods are only his servants. The proprietor never desires the low-grade happiness such as the workers may desire. He is aloof from the material actions and reactions. For example, the rains are not responsible for different types of vegetation that appear on the earth. Although without such rains, there is no possibility of vegetative growth. Vedic Smriti confirms this fact as follows. Nimittamatram evasha शुच्यां सर्वकर्माणि प्रधानाकारणीभूता यतो वैसृग्यसक्तयः. In the material creations, the Lord is the supreme cause.
You're not audible to me.
Now
You're audible.
the created beings are of many varieties, such as demigods, human beings, and lower animals, and all of them are subject to the reactions of their past good or bad activities. The Lord only gives them the proper facilities for such activities and the regulations of the modes of nature, but He is never responsible for their past and present activities. In the Vedanta Sutra, it is confirmed Vaishamya Nairgharmye na Sapeksatvat. The Lord is never partial to any living entity. The living entity is responsible for his own acts. The Lord also gives him facilities through the agency of material nature, the external energy. Anyone who is fully conservant with all intricacies of this law of karma or fruitive activities does not become affected by the results of his activities. In other words, the person who understands this transcendental nature of the Lord is an experienced man in Krishna consciousness, and thus he is never subjected to the laws of karma. One who does not know the transcendental nature of the Lord and who thinks that the activities of the Lord are aimed at fruitive results, or as are the activities of the ordinary living entities, certainly becomes entangled himself in fruitive reactions. But one who knows the supreme truth is a liberated soul fixed in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
So this verse is basically telling that, Lord Krishna is independent. There is no work that affects him, or any fruitive actions also does not aspire him. So one who understands this truth about the Lord does not become entangled in this fruitive reactions of the work. So in
Yeah.
the purpose, Srila Prabhupada explains king, like he's compared that to the king. The king is not subject to the state laws. So similarly, the Lord, he is the creator of this material world. He's not affected by the activities of this material world. So similarly, there is another analogy is given. The proprietor of an establishment or any company is not responsible for the right and wrong activities of the workers, but the workers are the responsible themselves.
Yes.
And
And what?
another analogy is given here. Here as rains. Rains are not responsible for different types of vegetation, but rain is necessary for the vegetative growth.
So similarly, Krishna, a man experienced in Krishna consciousness, or man who knows that Krishna is not entangled or Krishna does not aspire for fruits, is also a liberated soul. Now, also means, as he said in the last verse, this verse, everyone follows my path as per, or they attained transcendental love of me. In that regard, he's saying also does not become entangled into fruity reactions of work. So you nicely shared all the three analogies. One is rain, another is company, and the first one is workers. We have a tendency to lord over the material nature, the propensity for lording over the material resources. So we think that they are for our enjoyment. So the proprietor of an establishment. So that's why we try to impose our own condition on Krishna. In a sense that if we are attached to fruity results, we think that Lord is also doing some action just to get fruits out of it. But Lord is not entangled in that things. Okay, then we can move to the next verse. You can recite. Evam gyatva kritam karma
Evam gnatva kritam karma
purvair api mumukshubhi
purvairapi mumukshubhi
kuru karmaiva tasmatvam
kuru karmaiva tasmatvam
purvai purvataram kritam.
purvaihi purvataram kritam.
Okay, who else is there? Okay, nobody joined. We do. Okay, I will read. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following in their footsteps. So he's giving the analogy of previous liberated souls. There are two classes of men. Some of them are full of polluted material things within their hearts, and some of them are materially free. Krishna consciousness is equally beneficial for both of these persons. Those who are full of dirty things can take to the line of Krishna consciousness for gradual cleansing process following the regulatory principles of devotional service. Those who are already cleansed of the impurities may continue to act in the Krishna consciousness so that others may follow their exemplary activities and thereby be benefited. Foolish persons or neophyte in Krishna consciousness often want to retire from activities without having knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Arjuna's desire to retire from activity on the battlefield was not approved by the Lord. One need only know how to act. To retire from the activities of Krishna consciousness and to sit aloof making a show of Krishna consciousness is less important than actually engaging in the field of activities for the sake of Krishna. Arjuna is here advised to act in Krishna consciousness following in the footsteps of Lord's previous disciples, such as the sun god Vivaswan, as mentioned herein before. The Supreme Lord knows all his past activities as well as those of the persons who acted in Krishna consciousness in the past. Therefore, he recommends the acts of the sun god who learned this art from the Lord some millions of years before. All such students of Lord Krishna are mentioned here as past liberated persons engaged in the discharge of duties allotted by Krishna. Yeah, so Krishna is giving a reference or say source or say he's saying follow these people, these are the authentic people. Follow those liberated souls. Now at purport Prabhupada is mentioning about the two types of people. The one who is already purified and the others are whose hearts are not yet purified. So those are like us. So we have kama, krodha, tatha, lobha. So some tendencies are still there. Now, and the liberated souls are like Sukadeva Goswami and all those people, sun god. So Prabhupada is saying that Krishna consciousness is for both of them. For first kind of people whose hearts are not purified, they can come into Krishna consciousness, and by the gradual process, slowly the cleansing will happen, and their heart will get purified. For the second kind of people, for those who are already elevated in Krishna consciousness, for them, Prabhupada is saying they should act in such a way that others should take motivation from them. Although they
Yes.
are liberated, they should act in that way. This is what said. And just giving up the work and sitting aloof, making a show of Krishna consciousness is not recommended. It is better to engage oneself in the service of the Lord. Do some work for Lord, following the footsteps of previous disciples of Lord. So in this you can include the 12 Mahajanas as well, where there are 12 Mahajanas to whom we can follow, whose path we can follow. Those are what was sloka? जब प्रहलादो जन को भीष्म. Oh, I'm forgetting the sloka. I'll just search. 12 Mahajanas, Srimad Bhagavatam. So 6.3.2021. Are those slokas visible on my screen?
No, Prabhu, it's not visible.
Okay, I'll be here 1 second. See, these 12 Mahajanas can also be followed. Swayambur Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Pralado Janako Bhishma Balir Vaisha Sakir Vayam द्वादशैते विजानीमो धर्मं भागवतं भताः गुह्यं विशुद्धं दुर्बोधं यं ज्ञात्वामृतम् अश्नुते. So these 12 are Lord Brahma, Bhagwan Narada, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, Lord Kapila, the son of Devahuti, Swayambhu Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janaka Maharaj, Grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Sukdev Goswami, and I means Yamraj. So these are the 12 Mahajanas which are to be followed. Now, what is Yamraj saying further? I myself knows the real religious principles. My dear servants. So Yamraj is speaking to the Yamadutas after the Ajamila's pastime. My dear servants, this transcendental religious principle, which is known as Bhagavad Dharma or surrender unto Supreme Lord and love for Him, is uncontaminated by material modes of nature. It is very confidential and difficult for ordinary human being to understand. But if by chance one fortunately understands it, he is immediately liberated, and thus he returns home back to Godhead. All right. Purport is a long purport. So these are the 12 Mahajanas whom we can follow. And I'll just reshare my screen to Bhagavad Gita app. Pocket with us. Yes. Next verse, you can recite. Kim karma kim akarmeti
Kim karma kim akarmeti
kavayopyatra mohitaah
kavayopyatra mohitaha
tatte karma pravakshami
tatte karma pravakshyami
yag यज्ञात्वा मोक्षसे शुभात्.
यज्ञात्वा मोक्ष्यसे शुभात्.
Yes, you can recite. You can read the translation and purpose.
Translation. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. Purport. Action in Krishna consciousness has to be executed in accord with the examples of previous bona fide devotees. This is recommended in the 15th verse. Why such action should not be independent will be explained in the text to follow. To act in Krishna consciousness, one has to follow the leadership of authorized persons who are in a line of disciplic succession as explained in the beginning of this chapter. The system of Krishna consciousness was first narrated to the sun god. The sun god explained it to his son Manu. Manu explained it to his son Ikshwaku, and the system is current on this earth from that very remote time. Therefore, one has to follow in the footsteps of previous authorities in the line of disciplic succession. Otherwise, even the most intelligent men will be bewildered regarding the standard actions of Krishna consciousness. For this reason, the Lord decided to instruct Arjuna in Krishna consciousness directly. Because of the direct instruction of the Lord to Arjuna, anyone who follows in the footsteps of Arjuna is certainly not bewildered. It is said that one cannot ascertain the ways of religion simply by imperfect experimental knowledge. Actually, the principles of religion can only be laid down by the Lord Himself. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranita. No one can manufacture a religious principle by imperfect speculation. One must follow in the footsteps of great authorities like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Manu, the Kumaras, Kapila, Prahalada, Bhishma, Sukadeva Goswami, Yamaraja, Janaka, and Bali Maharaja. By mental speculation, one cannot ascertain what is religion or self-realization. Therefore, out of causeless mercy to his devotees, the Lord explains directly to Arjuna what action is and what inaction is. Only action performed in Krishna consciousness can deliver a person from entanglement of material existence.
Yes.
So here Lord Krishna is saying even the intelligence are bewildered in determining what the action and inaction is. So he is explaining what action is and from which and from doing that actions how the souls are liberated from this misfortune. He's trying to explain in the coming verses. So in the purport, what we can see is to act in the Krishna conscious, one has to follow the leadership of the authorized person. So we have to follow the disciplined succession for this knowledge. Even the most intelligent people will be confused regarding the standard actions of the Krishna consciousness. So that's why Lord decided to instruct Arjuna in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. So we discussed the 12 Mahajanas in the previous verse itself.
12 Mahajanas. Yes, yes, yes.
So one should not.
Janaka Maharaja and Bali Maharaja is added.
Yeah. So by one mental speculation, we cannot ascertain the religion of self-realization. So therefore, these devotees are required. So you can read all the devotees here. Brahma Stuti is there in 10th canto. Then Lord Shiva glorifying Lord Vishnu. Then Narad Muni's pastimes are there with Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, and all the other devotees. Then we have Manu,
Swayambhuva Manu.
yeah, the Chaturkumaras, Kapila, Prahlada, Yamraj, Janaka. And all these devotees are there. We should follow their path rather than mentally speculating on our own path. Yes, so to act in Krishna consciousness, one has to follow the leadership of authorized persons who are in line of disciplic succession. So these all the persons are in line. Okay, any doubt in this verse till now? If not, then we'll move to the next verse. Yes, you can recite behind me. Karmano yapi bodhavyam
Vyam
bodhavyam cha vikarmanah
बोद्धव्यं च विकर्मणः
akarmanascha bodhavyam
अकर्मणश्च बोद्धव्यं
gahana karmano gati.
गहना कर्मणो गतिः.
Yeah, Philip, you can read them. Is Philip there?
Yes, I'm here, but I'm outside. I may not be able to.
Okay, fine. I'll read. I'll read. The intricacies of the action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. So this is serious about if one is serious about liberation from material bondage, one has to understand the distinction between action, inaction, and unauthorized actions. One has to apply oneself to such an analysis of action, reaction, and perverted action because it is very difficult subject matter. To understand Krishna consciousness and action according to its modes, one has to learn one's relationship with the Supreme, that is, one who has learned perfectly knows that every living entity is an eternal servitor of the Lord, and that consequently one has to act in Krishna consciousness. The entire Bhagavad Gita is directed towards this conclusion. Any other conclusions against this consciousness and its attendant actions are vikarmas or prohibited action. So to understand all this, one has to associate with the authorities in Krishna consciousness and learn the secret from them. This is good. This is as good as learning from the Lord directly. Otherwise, even the most intelligent person will be bewildered. Yes, so the Bhagavad Gita is directed towards conclusion. And then here it is said that difference between action, which is action and inactions. So
Forbidden action.
yeah, so what is forbidden action here?
Vikarma.
Vikarma. So which goes
Vikarma.
yeah, which goes against the
Here
principle.
against the against the consciousness.
Yeah, against the principles of Krishna consciousness, and the one which follows the authorized succession is and following the process is called uh, action.
Karma. Yes.
Okay, very simply Prabhupada has explained nicely.
He has not explained inactions. Only karma,
Inact
vikarma.
Vikarma is the action against. Inaction is the thing which yogis does. They try to prohibit themselves. Those things are inaction. Maybe he will explain it in the further verse.
Okay.
Mostly because I've seen the doubts we get now usually get answer in the next verses. Okay, then for today we can stop because I have some work to do.
Okay.
So, Karmana, which is this verse? Till 4.17 we have completed. Okay, so you both can